Woo.
Hello and welcome to my channel. Vice Rhino here, Cirrus over there. I'm just having a momentary feeling of panic. So let me just check. No, just I saw something in the chat that made me think that maybe my stream is not live on YouTube. So I'm going to check. It says that it's live, so I'm going to...
Yeah, I would assume if that's working, then it's fine.
Looks like it's live. I'm just panicking over nothing. So there we go. Olivia Williams.
Woo.
Ya basic. Thanks for joining.
Balls.
And also, Fennec the Rabbit, 11-month resubscribe over on Twitch. Thank you for that. 11-month resubscribe means that I've had my Twitch channel for about a year now, at least. Which seems wrong. But here we are.
How did my phone fall? Where even was it? Right.
I don't know.
I don't know what's going on anymore.
That makes two of us. Speaking of not knowing what's going on, first up in the news items that we're not really covering tonight, the Harris interview on Fox.
Yeah, I was trying to watch it before the stream, and I understand what it means to play to an audience, especially to speak primarily to a conservative audience. I'm used to that in Georgia. There are so many non-answers given when the direct answer would have been better and more efficient during that interview. Okay, the part that I was just on was where the dude was asking her, hey, why do you think so many people like Trump? The answer to that is super simple. Propaganda works.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the answer. There's no more, no less. Propaganda works.
And you are that. Yep. I agree. However, I think she did a really good job at holding her own while playing to the more conservative audience, and also not giving them very much in the way of soundbite material. Because there were definitely answers that, like, the real answer would have been a much better answer, but she clearly wouldn't be allowed to speak long enough to give the real answer with nuance. So she had to, like with the trans inmates or whatever, like, the real answer there is, well, prisoners are human beings, and human beings have human rights. One of those human rights is healthcare. So if we are going to forcibly detain people in the prison system, we need to provide for their healthcare. Gender affirming care is healthcare. However, that comes with the soundbite of Kamala Harris saying gender affirming care is healthcare, that Trump will then run in all the attack ads ever.
Yeah.
And then everyone who thinks that kids really are asking for litter boxes in the classrooms will latch onto that and be like, oh, well, yeah, Trump might not be my first choice, but like, at least he's not
At
getting on
least
the
he
gender.
doesn't like
So it's
the
like,
T slurs.
it's absolutely atrocious that the United States is at a point where you can't just say gender affirming care is healthcare because as a politician, because that's apparently a controversial take. But unfortunately, that is the reality of the situation. And you got to remember, like in that interview, she's talking to Fox viewers. These are the people that are in the conspiracy full, like they're all the way in. So like she's trying to appeal to the less extreme viewers that are over there. But she also knows she has to stick to the conservative side of things, which I fucking hate it. But I think she did a good job considering what it was.
Like I get it. I 100% get where she's coming from with a lot of that. I just don't have to like it.
Yeah.
And
no,
I'm
I don't like it
lucky
either.
I'm lucky that I'm in a position as a content creator where instead of needing to justify any of those things, I can just complain about it and I can be honest about it, because if I was not honest to an audience, then that audience would look at me very funny. Like that's a very privileged position to be in, all things considered.
Yeah. In other news, Axo showed up in my chat before the stream started, expecting me to not know a penis trivia fact about some animal out in the wild. Barnacles have penises that are 8 to 10 times as long as their body, which is, as I pointed out, is the longest penis to body ratio in the animal kingdom. Because that's the kind of knowledge that I have just available to me at the drop of a hat.
Just on a whim, you
maybe,
have it.
Axo probably hasn't been with me long enough for this, but I actually once did, as part of my fundraising for Project Share that I do every November, I once did a penis trivia night where I got a bunch of us on stream and we did penis trivia. I had like 15 questions all about penises out in the wild, and the barnacle thing was one of them.
Okay.
So, yep, if there's an animal with a weird dick, I know about it.
You know what? I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about that. Uncomfortable, maybe, but
Duct Tape Jake says barnacle tentacle penicle.
look, after the recent leaks from the Pokemon Company, I feel like anybody knowing an uncomfortable amount about animal dicks is a bit of a sign for me to stay a couple inches away, if you know what I mean.
Sure.
Although, thanks to the leaks from the Pokemon Company, we now know that almost every Pokemon is a rapist.
Oh, we got our first hat of the evening. Put my sweater on the hat box.
But considering that Pokemon are animals, that also makes perfect sense.
I don't know. I know nothing about Pokemon dicks. Do they even have dicks? I thought they reproduced by, like, having an egg that nobody sees for a minute.
Well, apparently when the rape happens, nobody sees it too. Because Okay, so do you know what happened with the Pokemon leaks?
I am vaguely aware that there was a leak that involved a bunch of source code for a bunch of games and internal notes and employee information and stuff.
The internal notes showed that there's a lot of Pokemon that just, if they get abused by humans enough, they will just rape the humans. There is a story that was in those leaks of a bunch of slack-off that just bred with a human because the human kept on like going out and hunting and killing slack-off.
Well, Rosina pre-Yiddish math tutor Keller says, Vice Rhino loves penis facts. I do. Penises are weird, and I like weird things. Okay. Moving the conversation away from Pokemon dicks. Next news item that we're not really covering, but I would feel weird not talking about it. Trump having a 38-minute music party.
Oh, I saw that where he was just kind of standing there
So
creepily.
Do you know what happened? Like, do you know the full lead up to where?
No, I don't.
Okay, so he's in a town hall, supposed to be people in the audience asking him questions. Someone faints, call for medic, whatever, blah, 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 whatever. As they're waiting for the medic to get to him, he like goes to a sound guy who I guess the sound guy was named Justin. So he like just, it was really weird for me watching that to hear Trump say, "Justin, play Ave Maria." So like while they were waiting for medical attention for someone who fainted because of the heat, he's playing Ave Maria. And then after that was all done, I think he took one more question. Someone else fainted, to which his response was, "Justin, play Ave Maria again." So as they're waiting for that guy to get taken care of, they're playing Ave Maria again. After that happens, he then is like, "Hey, you know what? Nobody really wants to hear questions or whatever, so let's just like listen to some music." At which point his teleprompters showed up. So like what's her face? Christy Gnome, puppy killer. She was like trying to get him to, "Oh, let's just do 2 more questions." Like, "Yeah, okay, we can do your music thing, but let's just do 2 more questions." And then he ignored her. And at that point, one of the cameras picked up his teleprompter, had written on it, "Please do 2 more questions before you start music." So like his staff was literally begging him to not do that because they knew how bad it was going to look. And then he just stood there playing, I guess, his Spotify playlist. And it started with like they played a version of Ave Maria that I guess he didn't like. So he's like, "Oh, let's get the one with Pavarotti singing it. Let's play Pavarotti singing Ave Maria." And yeah, then it just went from there to like all like a random assortment of, I guess, his Spotify playlist, and he just stood there occasionally like swaying back and forth to the music. And yeah, it was weird. It was like, fucking weird.
Don't get me wrong. I've done exactly that to my stream, making them listen to music from the Sonic the Hedgehog series. But I feel like when I do it, it's less creepy old man. For now, I'll get older and it will be.
Yeah, but also like I don't imagine you do that when you are at an event where you are supposed to be available for questions, like direct questions from your audience.
No, not generally.
And you wouldn't do that if that event was part of you campaigning to be the most powerful person on the planet.
Again, not generally. The last time I was at a big event where I was one of the people that it was
from
for.
Hunchback. Do they have Ave Maria in Hunchback?
Believe so. Hold on.
No, I'm thinking like there is a Gregorian chant that they do leading into Esmeralda's song. I don't think it's Ave Maria though. Hellfire is a good song, also not Ave Maria. Why is everybody saying Hellfire? That is not even close to Ave Maria. It's one of the best fucking...
Wait, no, Ave Maria is in Hunchback.
Like the actual Ave Maria, or do they have Ave Maria as one of the chants in the background of Hellfire? Because I know there's a bunch of Latin going on there.
No, it's an exchange from Frollo to Quasimodo. Yeah, no, it's in Hunchback.
It's Beata Maria, not Ave Maria. Beata Maria, you know I am a righteous man. I'm not gonna sing. We did that last time.
Technically, we didn't do it live last time.
No, but
also,
we had the link.
Paladin Lost, thank you for resubscribing. Nixie Chan, thank you for resubscribing. Gideon Wells, Spectacular. Why was it so hard for me to pronounce spectacular? What? And Jassa Proxy, thank you all as well. Zan says, "Here comes the copyright strike." They can fucking try.
I didn't sing enough of it well enough to get a copyright. EB the Nerd, am I the only one who didn't mind the gargoyles from Hunchback? Okay, so I love Hunchback of Notre Dame. I know the gargoyles are over the top too much. It's tonally an issue for the movie, but I also don't mind them because I feel like the rest of the movie is strong enough that it makes up for it. And I know that's my Disney hot take, is that Hunchback is good actually. But like a big part of that is the music. Like Hellfire fucking slaps. like the bells of Notre Dame. I mean, okay. It is the Disney children's movie that has the most racial slurs just said in it.
I mean, it does. It
but
does.
Also,
I want to also say during that time, that wasn't as considered to be that way for general populace.
No. Even still, I think most people don't think that it has the same impact as the N-word.
Yeah.
It's like, that's definitely not one that I'm going to be saying anytime soon, but like when I think of showing my kids that movie, I would have a worse thought about like having, like, if there was some kid's cartoon that was using the N-word all over the place just to describe people in it, and not making a point of saying, oh, like, oh yeah, this is a bad way to refer to them.
Yeah, if you want that.
Rosina's asking, did you both ever do that duet you promised on a previous stream? Yes, we did. We linked to it on the last one. It is the pinned comment of my YouTube video of last week's stream, so if you need to find it, you can go do it that way. I will not be facilitating that anymore because we're garbage.
Yeah. Also, fun fact, when we were setting up for that, I completely fucked up. I practiced a different song leading up to it, so that I went in effectively with no ability.
To be fair, you did practice the song that we have spoken about duetting most. That just isn't the one that they paid us for.
It's true. It's true. I've still made many mistakes, and I am upset with myself.
It's okay.
I was stressed.
I sang over one of your lines.
We and you specifically said that you would not be re-recording it because fuck me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, Trump had a 38-minute music party. Next up, we also had Trump in several different places. He called for the military to be used against Americans, the National Guard and Americans, calling them the enemy within. At one point, he singled out both Adam Schiff and Nancy Pelosi as people who would be targets of that action.
God, I'm so thrilled to be living in America,
and
where slowly it's getting worse and worse.
Oh, I actually have I have a clip of I don't remember what.
I think the bigger problem is the enemy from within, not even the people that have come in and destroying our country. By the way, totally destroying our country. The towns, the villages, they're being inundated. But I don't think they're the problem in terms of election day. I think the bigger problem are the people from within. We have some very bad people. We have some sick people, radical left lunatics. And I think they're and it should be very easily handled by, if necessary, by National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military, because they can't let that happen.
Yay! God, I love hearing somebody say that I need to just be handled by the military.
They're trying to spin that as him talking specifically about riots, but there have been other places where he's made it very clear that he's talking about his political opponents.
Yeah, what the fuck do they consider a radical leftist? Because like that's just anybody that doesn't like capitalism to them. And
going back to Harris's interview, they asked Harris about this, and they tried to pull that, like, oh no, he was just talking about the National Guard or whatever. And this is the moment that I think Harris did the best in the debate. I'm calling it a debate, kind of was. But
if he's as bad as you say, that half of this country is now supporting this person who could be the 47th president of the United States, why is that happening?
This is an election for president of the United States. It's not supposed to be easy.
I know, but
it's not supposed to be. It is not supposed to be a cakewalk for anyone.
So are they misguided, the 50%?
Listen,
are they stupid? What is it?
I would never say that about the American people. And in fact, if you listen to Donald Trump, if you watch any of his rallies, he's the one who tends to demean and belittle and diminish the American people. He's the one who talks about an enemy within, an enemy within, talking about the American people, suggesting he would turn the American military on the American people.
We asked that question to the former president today. Harris Faulkner had a town hall, and this is how he responded.
I heard about that. They were saying I was like threatening. I'm not threatening anybody. They're the ones doing the threatening. They do phony investigations. I've been investigated more than Alphonse Capone. He was the greatest gangster. No, it's true.
I've been investigated more than Al Capone. No, the fuck you haven't.
So,
Brett, I'm sorry, and with all due respect, that clip was not what he has been saying about the enemy within that he has repeated when he's speaking about the American people. That's not what you just showed.
Well, he was asked
no,
about
that's not what you just showed. In all fairness and respect to you,
that was the question that we asked him.
You didn't show that, and here's the bottom line. He has repeated it many times, and you and I both know that. And you and I both know that he has talked about turning the American military on the American people. He has talked about going after people who are engaged in peaceful protest. He has talked about locking people up because they disagree with him. This is a democracy. And in a democracy, the President of the United States, in the United States of America, should be willing to be able to handle criticism without saying he'd lock people up for doing it. And this is what is at stake, which is why you have someone like the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff saying what Mark Milley has said about Donald Trump being a threat to the United States of America.
He's quoted in the Bob Woodward book that way, yes. Let me ask.
Yeah, so I think Harris knocked that one out of the park. I also like that they tried to do that thing that people keep doing with Trump supporters, where like they'll quote Trump and then the Trump supporter will be, oh, he never said that. Oh, really? He never said. Play the clip, and then they'll just play the clip of Trump saying that. Like they tried to do that, but it didn't quite work since Trump never actually clarified that he didn't mean turning the military on the American people.
No, he literally just said, no. That's what they're doing. That's what they're saying.
And then he went off on a tangent that was unrelated, because that's what Trump does. He doesn't know how to stick to a topic. But yeah, so it's frightening that we're living in a time where one of the major candidates for president who has a not zero chance of winning is actually threatening to use the military against Americans who disagree with him.
Yep.
Now, in all the stuff that's been, like, most of this is news that's I've become aware of today, and throughout all this, I had a bit of an epiphany regarding Trump and tariffs. I think I understand why Trump seems incapable of understanding why tariffs would, like, raise prices for things. It's because if you look at what we know about the Trump Bible, by the time that Bible hits American soil, it costs him $2. He then jacks up the price to $60 and makes a massive profit. You slap a 200% tariff on those Bibles, if he doesn't change the price, his profit margin is still 900%. So from his perspective, now, don't get me wrong, you slap a tariff on that, he absolutely would raise the price and blame the tariffs for it. But from his perspective, he's like, oh yeah, no, I could still make bank even if I don't raise the price. So yeah, no, tariffs don't raise the price.
Well, because it's impossible for him to consider the perspective of anybody who's not also Donald Trump.
Yeah, so like he doesn't understand the idea of, like, he's talking about car manufacturing, how like they make the cars in Mexico. Okay, making a car is, there's so much involved in that is not just putting the car together in the factory. That like just between the Canadian and American border, in order to make a car in the USA, there are parts that cross the border like 15 times before it makes it to the final factory that actually puts the car together, which he said was work that a child could do at a recent event.
Do you want a child putting your car together?
No. You know what? I think a child put my van together, the last one that I had that I got rid of.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that being why we had so many issues with that, but yeah, no, like it a child could not put a car together, and in order to get the parts there, it crosses the border so many times. Now, every time it crosses the border, when it comes back, it's got a 200% tariff on it. That's going to that's going to massively affect the price. Even more on the Trump Bible, with Oklahoma paying $30 more than the listed price. What? Are they paying $90 for the Trump Bibles? God, I hope that gets squished in the courts. It's not going to, but come on.
Yeah, I hope similar.
Right.
I would hope similar.
So that was my epiphany about Trump and tariffs. That like he doesn't understand the idea that a company is not already charging such a high markup that another 200% can just be eaten up by their profits without changing the price.
I mean, again, it makes perfect sense that he wouldn't be able to figure that out, though, because again, this is a person who does not consider perspectives outside of his own. This is a person who is categorically unable to experience empathy.
Yeah, so Secular Storm Chaser for $10 says, so since Trump has said he used the military against the internal enemy, is it at best false where he's signaling to those who believe the deep state, or worse, he's actually going after Americans? Yeah, no, he's actually planning on going after Americans. Like, he's named at least a couple of them. Adam Schiff and Nancy Pelosi are two that he is actually named as people he's going to go after with the military or National Guard. Funnily enough, regarding the deep state, Project 2025 is literally the Republican plan for instituting a deep state. Like, every accusation is a confession. We want a deep state. This is how we do it.
If you get rid of every single person who is a careered official and you replace them instead with people who are not experts in their field anymore, but people who are just loyalists to a single person, in what way is that not just creating a deep state? What way is that not
effectively a deep state? It's exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm also we're not going to cover the swastika flags that were being flown during the Trump boat event, the boat rally.
If you go to an event and you see this flag and nobody is taking it down, congratulations, you're at a Nazi event.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I saw that in context of a tweet that was like, hey, if you're still undecided in this election, here's a helpful voting guide. Step 1, figure out which candidate the Nazis are supporting. Step 2, vote for the other one.
Yeah, I like how recently all the Nazis are coming out of the woodwork to support Asmongold. Weird.
Yeah, no, like if like Trump has the support of Nazis, he uses fascist rhetoric. To say that he's a threat to democracy is not, like, it's not unwarranted at this point. Although, once again, it's really amusing to me that they'll say that, like, oh, calling Trump a threat to democracy is literally calling for violence against him, and then Trump will actually use the term threat to democracy when talking about Kamala Harris. So it's like, if you're going to be consistent and calling someone a threat to democracy is a call for violence, you are literally calling for violence against your political opponent. Like, there's no other way to interpret that.
Yeah.
Now, I disagree. I say calling someone who is actually a threat to democracy is not a call for violence. Not inherently.
Calling a spade.
Yeah. Now, that being said, I also understand that contextually it can be a call to violence. For instance, the way Trump uses it. Knowing that his supporters are who they are.
Well, there are very fine people on both sides, Rhino, just so you know.
Ninjester says, be like the Blues Brothers, hate Illinois Nazis. Agree. And Rosina said David Duke endorsed Jill Stein. I mean...
I, too, enjoy endorsing useless people. I mean, what?
Content83 gifted a sub to someone. I haven't seen who yet. So thank you for gifting the sub. Oh yeah, this one's not in my notes, but I'm also not covering the supposed assassination attempt that they're talking about now. It's like, no, they just arrested a guy that showed up with guns. Like, there being guns in the proximity of a Republican event just says that there's Republicans there who like the Second Amendment. Like, that's not...
Which means they just have Republicans there.
Yeah, like, well, this guy's affiliated with the Libertarians. Like, he's a Republican Libertarian. It's like, yeah, those are the kind of people you would expect to have a bunch of guns on them. That doesn't mean he was going there to kill Trump. But, yeah, but, and, like, even if he was, this once again, hey, Who is it that's been trying to assassinate Trump? It's been Republicans every single time.
Altfax has no YouTube stream service, so I haven't re-enabled Restream yet. I need to, but Restream has been very, very funky lately on my end, and I don't have the spoons to fuck with it.
Sounds like a skill issue.
Oh, 100% is. I've never said I'm a good streamer. I'm just a streamer that got very lucky.
Another news item we're not really covering. This is good news, so I wanted to talk about it. A judge in Georgia ruled that local election officials do not have the power to refuse to certify results. The process is mandatory and deadlines must be met.
Oh, yeah, I did see that. That makes me very excited.
Yeah, and it was a Republican-appointed judge. Although it's the same one that oversaw the grand jury that indicted Trump, so I don't feel like the Trumpers are going to really accept that he's a Republican-appointed judge. He's from back in the era where we didn't really care whether it was a Republican or a Democrat that appointed a judge. You just appointed the people who were qualified to be judges.
Yeah, but now we need to make sure that we get rid of that pesky Roe versus Wade.
Yeah. And related to that, early voting in Georgia has hit record levels by, like, a lot. Last I heard, it was like 150% higher than the previous record.
Also very good.
That is good, because when turnout is high, Republicans lose.
Yup.
And Rosina says, yay for Georgia courts this time. That is, yeah, Georgia courts doing a good thing is not a common occurrence on this show. It's usually the exact opposite.
Yeah, they kind of suck usually.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well.
Oh, we got someone gifting a bunch, so there's going to be a bunch of oohs coming.
Ravi says, I like rusty spoons. I like salad fingers, too. Oh, whoa.
I don't like salad fingers.
You don't like the feeling of the nettles on your teeth?
Oh, no, this was... Okay, no, it's not Twitch gifting subs. This is Rosina gifted 5 memberships. So thank you, Rosina, for gifting those 5 memberships.
Oh, well.
We'll have to we'll have to wait out all the oohs.
You did this. Oh, whoa.
I did this once because I thought it was funny, and then because I'm lazy, I haven't changed it.
And now here we are.
Now here we are. Yep. I still have the button. Oh, wrong button.
No, that's the right one.
I'm just picturing Emperor's New Groove. Pull the lever, Kronk! Wrong lever!
Oh, whoa.
There it is.
Oh, whoa.
Ooh, small beans, little babies.
Okay. Shall we do...
I've been introducing Saki to H-Bomber guy, and she's gone, oh my god, his videos are hilarious. How often does he put one out?
I mean, he was putting out several a year 7 years ago.
Yeah, but that was back when he was doing, like, video game analysis.
Yeah, but it's not like it was not in-depth analysis. Like, when you have a 2.5-hour video on fucking Pathologic the game that takes you, like, 4 days to play through, and he plays through it 5 times so he can get all the different endings.
Yeah. Oh, no, they were certainly extensive back then, too. It's just... what he does now requires even more research than that.
True. Yes.
I still think he probably has what I would now consider the definitive video on the anti-vax movement.
Yep. Yeah.
Like,
every time I think about, like, hey, maybe I should go through the Wakefield study, I'm like, nope. H-Bomber guy did it way better than I ever would.
Yeah.
I would not have caught all those little connections.
I do not have the required skill nor the required tism.
Okay. Shall we do some actual news this time?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Canada is better than the United States. Contraception and diabetes drugs are now going to be covered by our government healthcare in the near future.
I'm so happy for you.
Yeah. There's some caveats to that. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, but yeah, this was sent to me by E.T. Benson. So Canada's Parliament passed a bill that will cover the full cost of contraception and diabetes drugs for Canadians. Asterisk. So the federal government still has to negotiate individual funding commitments with Canada's provinces and territories, which, when I was doing my initial read-through of the article, my first thought when I saw that was like, oh, fucking Alberta's going to hold this up. Because Alberta is our Bible Belt. Mm-hmm. Alberta is our Texas. Alberta is so much our Texas that Ted Cruz came from Alberta originally.
Makes sense. Why do all of our worst conservatives come from Canada?
Because we ship them out. We don't tolerate them here. We send them to you.
Oh, is that your number one export?
Yeah, well, I don't know. Pierre Poilievre is probably worse. He's the leader of the opposition party right now, the Conservatives. Yeah, Canadians currently pay for prescription drugs through a mix of private, public, and out-of-pocket plans. So basically, most insurance plans through employers cover 80% of prescription costs. People like me who are self-employed don't get shit for coverage. So like my ADHD meds cost me like about $100 a month ish. Like, it's not prohibitive, but it's not nothing. However, my kids get free drugs. So God,
I love when kids get free drugs.
I have two children that are diagnosed with ADHD. They both have medication for it, and I don't have to pay for that. So yeah, it's a mix, and it's a mix that for most people works well enough. It's like, because most people do get the 80% coverage. So like, my $100 ADHD meds would be $20 a month, which, like, that's something that most people who are working can afford.
Yeah.
That said, I'd still like it all to be covered. But this program will cover 100% of the cost of diabetes and contraception medication for those who do not have drug plan coverage, and out-of-pocket costs for those who do. So, like, you got the 80% covered, the other 20% is now going to be covered as well. Federal government estimates that 9 million Canadian women of reproductive age will have access to common types of contraceptions under this plan. And birth control and IUDs cost between $100 and $300 a year for Canadians. So, like, again, not nothing, but I imagine it's a little bit more expensive in the States.
At least we finally are making sure that we have insulin cost capped here.
Yeah.
Because places were starting to get really fucky with that.
30 to 50 annoyingly feral peccaries says, trick or treat, free drugs! Yeah, that's the Conservatives' worst nightmare. We're giving out free drugs for Halloween. Here's some candy corn. Here's some Ritalin.
We're putting it in your bag.
And here's your baggie of fentanyl.
Jesus.
Yeah. So diabetes. So this is the asterisk. Diabetes drugs covered include insulin for people with type 1 and type 2 diabetes, which can cost between $900 and $1,700 a year, and metformin, which helps lower blood sugar levels for people with type 2 diabetes. So the headline is kind of overblowing this a little. Like, to cover cost of contraception and diabetes drugs, like, yeah, those are 2 diabetes drugs, but there are a lot of diabetes drugs that are not those. And my partner is on several of them. Metformin is one that she's on, so this is going to help us, but and it's not cheap. So yeah, it's better than nothing, but it's not as good as it could be. Side note to this, I am getting really fucking annoyed at all the discussion happening around Ozempic and treating it as though it is just a weight loss drug. It's like everybody is saying, like, oh, you don't need Ozempic, you can just like diet and exercise or whatever. It's like, okay, well, first off, there are genetic factors and hormonal factors and things that go into things like, technically speaking, weight loss is, yes, 100% just a calculation of calories in versus calories out. However, if your body is physically unable to process your stored fats and sugars, then you can be obese and starving at the same time. Mm-hmm. So it's not that simple. Like, yeah, you'll lose weight if you starve yourself, but it's not going to be healthy. And Ozempic was it was originally developed as a diabetes drug. It keeps your blood sugar levels down. My partner uses it to keep her blood sugar levels down. She is not upset about the weight loss, but that's not why she's on it. And it's fucking frustrating that like all the dialogue about Ozempic is about like how it's a fashion drug that people are using because it's easy weight loss and you're skipping the gym, or it was like, okay, yeah, but what about like, because the metformin wasn't enough for her to keep her blood sugar down, so she's on Ozempic because that helps a lot. It's like, why are you guys lumping her in with the people that are on Ozempic because they're too lazy to work out or whatever?
I don't know if it's necessarily that people are being lumped in there. I feel like that might be taking a non-personal conversation and making it personal.
Well, I feel like the dialogue surrounding Ozempic right now is mostly about how nobody needs Ozempic. And I feel like that is harmful. There's now being a stigma attached to Ozempic. So people who actually do need it for their diabetes, it's like it was developed as a diabetes treatment. Using it for weight loss is actually an off-label use. It's not approved by the FDA for that. It's not approved by the Canadian version of the FDA. It's just something that like that's a side effect. So people are using it for that. So oh, here we go. Hitchmeister. I thought the problem with people using it for weight loss was taking it away from people who need it for blood sugar control. I didn't even think of that. But yeah, that could be an issue as well with supply if everybody's using it for weight loss instead of diabetes.
Also, I will just say, as far as
and Rosina's pointing out, many of the positive effects of Ozempic precede the weight loss. Super neat. So
I would also say, I don't like this argument. I don't like the zero-sum game of medications argument, because that means that there is a problem that instead of solving, we have decided to point fingers at each other instead of solving, right? So as an example, let's say you have somebody who is 400 pounds. This person is unable to lose weight easily because of a myriad of factors, right? If you're at 400 pounds, your ability to lose weight is very low because your stamina is naturally going to be very low. It's going to be very hard. Your body is conditioned to eating a certain amount of calories. I actually have a friend who's like 450 pounds, and the same app that I use, MyFitnessPal, for tracking my calories, when he used that app to calculate his calories, it had him at like 3,300 calories for losing weight. He has to consume twice as much as I do as a bare minimum just to keep going. And if you've got even a single factor where you're, with your body that you don't understand, it is very likely that consuming that would actually just put you at a maintenance weight. So for those people, Ozempic as a weight loss option is very, very good. It's very, very helpful. There is nothing where if we are willing to accept that obesity is an epidemic in the United States, then we are also willing to accept that the cure for epidemics is often medical. Yeah,
so I was headed in that direction eventually. One of the things I was going to bring up is that obesity is itself a strain on the healthcare system. So like, even if people are just using it to lose weight,
that's not a bad thing.
Even if you're using it to lose weight because you're not going to the gym and you'd rather take a shot every week than go to the gym. If you're going to be healthier as a result of that, why is that a bad thing?
Going to the gym also, fun fact, going to the gym doesn't make you lose that much weight.
No.
It fucking doesn't.
It's mostly about the diet.
It is mostly about the diet. If you are losing weight, it is 80% diet, 20% the calories that you burn at the gym. Because when you're at the gym, all you are burning is immediate glucose. You are taking glucose that your body is immediately utilizing, and you are burning that. You are not grabbing fat stores. That is not what the gym is doing. Your fat stores are being consumed.
I will flip off the camera like you request when we're done with the weight loss talk.
Fat stores generally get consumed when your body is at rest. It is also when your body consumes the majority of its calories in general. Now, there are benefits to going to the gym. I go to the gym going to the gym makes me feel healthier. And to a degree, when you start converting some of your body into muscle mass does consume more calories in order to maintain. But this comes with a slight problem that you have to maintain the muscle mass as well. So you just end up having to go to the gym even more in order to keep that benefit. But the actual going to the gym, the actual like, oh, you burned 500 calories at the gym, that's a fucking spook. That's not really how weight loss works. Most of it is going to be based off of how your body processes and metabolizes things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So like that's a side discussion that is related to this news item. I just wanted to bring it up because every time I see people talking shit about Ozempic, I'm just like, yeah, but why? Like, no, if it's not for you, it's not for you. Fine, don't take it. But like, that doesn't mean you got shit on people who do.
Like, if it helps somebody lose weight, that should be enough. That should be fine. Mm-hmm. You would not tell anybody with any other affliction at all. You would not shame them for using a medication to help. If somebody gets hit by a car,
Cirrus, I'm just going to correct you on this. There is an entire industry revolving around shaming people for taking medication for mental health issues.
Yeah, it's called the conservative media industry. You're right. Sorry.
Yeah, well, there's that, and there's people offering pseudoscientific healing stuff or what's it called, that homeopathic shit.
Yeah, no, you're right. There is an industry, but see, the thing is, with those industries though, what they're trying to do is sell you a fake substitute to the real thing. They are trying to ape the real thing. I had a friend talk to me today who is struggling with weight issues, and the only things that I could really say were like, hey, maybe it would be a good idea.
Sean, no, take it back. We're still going.
Like, maybe it would be a good idea to go out and walk for an hour a day and then track your calories. Not even consume any less, just be cognizant of what you are intaking, and also try to go outside and walk a little bit. The tiny baby steps that anybody would need to do in order to start being healthy. That's not a substitute. Like, if Ozempic was an option, then that would be the one that I would just be like, yeah, no, just grab that thing. Grab that thing. It's gonna help a lot towards this.
Okay, let's move on from this now. Fennec, you can come back. Yeah. So Prime Minister Justin Trudeau called the bill's passage real progress and urged provinces to quickly move forward with signing agreements, which, again, I was like, oh, Alberta's going to fuck it up for everybody. Fucking Alberta. The federal health minister has said he hopes that some provinces will have a plan in place by the end of this year, with all on board by next spring. Very optimistic time frame. I like it. But I was still, when reading this, in the back of my head was, fucking Alberta. They're going to fuck it up for everybody. And then I get down here, but two provinces, Alberta and Quebec, could have probably guessed about Quebec, but they're a little bit more of a what's the word? A wild card. They're a little bit more of a wild card with this sort of thing than Alberta is. But they have indicated they may opt out of the program, accusing Ottawa of interfering in provincial matters. Okay, if they just opt out entirely, sucks for people who live in Alberta and Quebec, but at least they're not holding it up for the whole country. So, yay? Opposition Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, I don't know. I don't actually speak French despite being Canadian.
You don't have the right amount of phlegm.
Apparently his party is ahead in the national polls by a wide margin, which fucking sucks, because the Conservatives are garbage. Don't vote for Conservatives, please. Canadians. They're the worst. I mean, no, the Republicans in the States are the worst, but they're the worst that Canada has, aside from whatever the fuck that party is that uses purple. But they don't win anything, so.
We have a purple party?
There's a purple party.
Huh.
What is it? Canadian party that uses purple. People's Party of Canada. The Purple People's Party of Canada. Was a one-eyed, one-horn, flying purple people leader.
I thought the same thing. God damn it.
Do you know the guy who sang that originally is also likely the voice of the Wilhelm scream?
Huh.
There are like 5 people that the Wilhelm scream could be, and he's one of the more likely of the 5.
Interesting. You know, speaking of H-Bomber Guy, I remember my autoplay decided to play the oops sound video again. So I just had that entire diatribe on the Wilhelm screen from the beginning of the video.
Oh, yeah. Oh, here we go. They chose a costly model that will deteriorate rather than improve access to prescription drugs, violate provincial jurisdiction, and further burden Canadian taxpayers, says the business group. What
yeah,
is this?
But
The Canadian Chamber of Commerce.
Group.
It's like, yeah, no, if business is against it, then I'm probably all for it, and that's probably good.
Like, businesses aren't people. I don't have to care about their rights.
So this is where I want to kind of brag about how the Canadian system is just better than the American system, because we don't have a two-party system. We have a multiple-party system. And right now we have what's called a minority government, which means no party got enough votes that they could just take over the government. So there has to be a coalition between parties in order to allow for a government to happen. So one party has to agree, like, okay, we will vote with you on all the shit so that you can actually do your governing. And right now, the Liberals are the ones that are in charge. So Justin Trudeau is the leader of the Liberals. Jagmeet Singh is leader of the NDP party, which is kind of like... So the Liberals would be like the Democrats in the States, and the NDP would be... Do you guys have an independent that's like left-wing of the Democrats?
We have a Green Party.
I don't know that Green would quite fit.
Yeah, they are more left than the Democrats on those things.
So the NDP are more left-leaning than the Liberals. And so they formed a coalition government. And so now this small party can actually exert pressure on the government to say, hey, these are our goals for the Canadian people. If you don't take meaningful steps toward those goals, we will withdraw our support. And then there will be a new election called. And you could potentially lose because apparently the Conservatives are winning in the polls. But so yeah, the left-wing party, that's the NDP, promised to prop up the Liberals on the condition that the government launch the drug program with a handful of other priorities. So this is the NDP's baby. Now, Trudeau was taking a sweet-ass time with that. So NDP actually pulled out of the deal in early September. They didn't actually call an election. Like they just have to initiate a vote of no confidence, and then that'll call an election. So they are still voting along with them at the moment, but they have withdrawn the agreement that they will just like pass everything. So now like every vote is this going to be the one that they disagree with, and it calls an election? And so as a result of that, we actually get shit done, progressively speaking.
That's mildly better than what we do.
That is way better than a two-party system. It's still effectively a two-party system because the only ones that are ever going to have the prime minister anytime soon are the Conservatives and the Liberals. But like, there has to be smaller parties that are willing, like the big parties have to be willing to play ball with the smaller parties in order to actually get anything done.
As opposed to the system we have here, where everything just gets stonewalled by one party. Whenever anything happens, unless you've got majorities.
So yeah, that's the main thing. I just wanted to flex our Canadian superiority today.
Well, I'm very glad that you're better than me.
Yeah, well, on to a less happy topic. You know how the right wing has been promoting all these conspiracy theories about FEMA and how like, FEMA is like turning people away that are trying to help?
It's it's funny. It's actually not super far away from the mentality the Conservatives had about FEMA after 9/11, because after 9/11, a lot of the conversation was about FEMA setting up concentration camps. If you remember those old
I do remember that FEMA death camps. Yes, I remember. Yes. I remember the libertarians hammering hard about that. That was during the rise of the Tea Party, wasn't it?
Yes. The FEMA camps was a huge talking point for a long time.
Cyrus.
Yeah?
The reason I remember that is because I was a libertarian at the time.
The reason I remember that is I was an Alex Jones fan at the time.
Yeah, so I might have thought that Obama was going to do death panels at a point in my past.
I did think he was going to do death panels.
I'm too embarrassed to just come out and say it. I'm just going to hint at it and let you draw your own conclusions.
I'm not too embarrassed to say it because I've pointed it out on my channel multiple times. I know where I came from. I know how stupid I was.
Lord of Uzclack says, is it Canadian superiority when it's based on the UK parliamentary system? Yeah, if the system is better, then it is better, whether it is the Canadian version or the UK version, regardless of where it originates.
I need you to never do that again, please. I will beg you not to do that again, because I fucking there. You got your thing. You got your thing.
Oh,
now, just fuck off.
Editors know every time Cirrus does that, you need to pull the audio from that and send it to me, please.
Editor's note for the person who's not paying you. Don't do that.
I have an invoice I have to pay. I should probably do that. Yeah, so back to FEMA. So they've been spreading rumors about FEMA, and like there is likely some truth to it. So like you send a bunch of untrained civilians into a disaster area that are like, hey, we're here to help. They probably will be turned away by the people who are actually trained to help, because that's just putting a bunch more civilians into a dangerous scenario, which will put more strain on things, like because they are now in trouble and they'll need help themselves. So like there probably is some truth to FEMA turning away people that were there to help, but like they've overblown it to the point where like, oh, FEMA was pulling their guns on us, like whatever. And you know, FEMA's only like, if you accept the $750 or whatever, then they'll come and take your land later. And like there's been all sorts, of rumors like that. And this is now culminating in an armed militia that has been seen hunting FEMA.
What?
So FEMA workers have had to evacuate where they were doing their work because there were guys running around with guns being like, hey, we're going to hunt down the FEMA people.
Why is that a thing? Never mind. I know why it's a thing.
Because of all the stuff that I just said.
Okay, so I understand the why, like the actual mechanical why it happens.
This was sent to me by my anonymous source. And what I'm trying to figure out is, why is human psyche so fucking dumb? Good question. It's like I don't know, because like this is what it, like when we talk about Trump telling dangerous lies, this is the result. People are probably going to die because there were not emergency workers present that should have been there, because the emergency workers had to be evacuated, because a bunch of idiot Trump supporters were like, Trump said that FEMA was the enemy, so we're going to hunt them down. So like, yeah, his lies have consequences.
He'll pardon me for anything I do, so I'm gonna do it 12 times.
Another thing, like where they're saying that the aid money that people can apply for, if you apply for that, you're agreeing to just give your land over to the government. No, they're not saying it's a loan. They're saying that if you take the money, part of the contract is the government can come and just take your land anytime they want. So they're gonna FEMA's gonna confiscate your land later.
They're also saying it's a loan.
Yeah, sure.
They're also saying like the 750.
Yeah,
they're saying that's a loan that you're going to have to pay.
There's so many lies it's hard to keep track of, but yeah, no, but so now there are people that are not going to be getting the aid that they need, and it's not just 750. There's more money than that that's available for people, but there are going to be people that don't apply for that and end up in dire situations, like possibly even dead, because of the lies that these people are spreading, because they would rather win political points by being like, hey, Kamala was vice president and they didn't do FEMA properly for you guys, so vote Trump because he would have done it right, even though everything he said about FEMA was a lie. So yeah, it's frustrating, and this is the result. Like, people are probably actually dying because of this. Continues pointing out 750 is a grant, not a loan. There are FEMA-based loan programs, but the 750 is not part of those. Yeah,
I understand that.
So,
but conservatives on Twitter don't.
Yeah, so federal emergency response workers operating in North Carolina's Rutherford County in the aftermath of Hurricane Helene were told to evacuate on Saturday over concerns that an armed militia was threatening workers in the area. So they got an email, or like they sent a message to numerous federal agencies around 1 p.m. on Saturday, warning that FEMA had advised that all federal responders in Rutherford County to stand down and evacuate the county immediately. National Guard troops had come across 2 trucks of armed militia saying they were out hunting FEMA, the email said. The incident management teams have been notified and are coordinating the evacuation of all assigned personnel in that county. It's like, people possibly died because these yahoos in their trucks were trying to hunt down FEMA workers.
We're gonna make the FEMAs upset. And by upset, I mean shocked.
And even like taking the immediate consequences out of this, the downstream consequences are like, people read stories like this, are like, hey, maybe I was going to go volunteer for FEMA after a disaster, like do some volunteer work in these areas. Oh, wait a minute. There's a chance I'm going to get shot by a Trump supporter because they think I'm there to steal someone's land who accepted the $750 grant. Yeah, no thanks. I'm going to stay home. So like downstream, there are going to be fewer people willing to go do this work because it is now like, it's always been kind of a thankless job, but now it's not just a thankless job, it's a demonized job.
And if you're doing this work in one of those areas, now you feel like you have to hide the fact that you're a FEMA worker. And now you're going to cause people to be even more suspicious because they're going to go, well, why are you hiding that? Shouldn't that be something you're proud of? And then the whole situation, very, very stupid.
Yeah, so the Post reported that 2 federal officials had confirmed the email's authenticity, but it was not clear if the threat described was viewed as credible. I would assume that it was viewed as credible because this is the Trump era that we're living in. You can't see a bunch of guys running around with guns saying they're hunting people and not take it seriously. Like, even if you don't think they were actually going to shoot people, you still have to take that seriously. And that's still a thing that they were willing to say because of all the lies that have been spread about FEMA. So,
Stoff, thank you for the wet. I will do a hydrate.
So now this was temporary. So the workers were back in place by Sunday afternoon. So it seems like this lasted like 24 hours. Thank you, Fennec, for the hydrate. So they were quick about getting back, but like, it's still not the kind of delay you want in an emergency situation where now the emergency workers are gone for 24 hours because of some yahoo with a gun.
No, the last thing you want to do is feel like when you're just trying to help people around you, you have to be worried that somebody's going to fucking blow your head off.
Mm-hmm. So, the incident demonstrates the growing concerns about the safety of government workers in North Carolina, parts of which were devastated after Hurricane Helene made landfall in Florida on September 26th. Helene killed at least 230 people as it moved north, leaving a tail of destruction across 6 states. Oh, speaking of, like, okay, this... My brain just connected like 6 dots, so I'm sorry that this feels like it's out of left field, but Cyrus, have you voted yet? Because Georgia has done early voting?
No, I usually vote day of.
Okay. As long as you actually vote. Don't be one of those people that encourages people to vote and then doesn't do it themselves.
That is not a thing I'm going to be doing.
Okay, good. So since then, misinformation and rumors about the response from FEMA and other federal agencies has been rampant. Some people have called for FEMA to be targeted after a rumor that the devastated town of Chimney Rock was going to be seized and bulldozed by the government. Like, why? Why would they even do that? Schmeister says, again, I'm a Georgian, I voted today.
Remember, these are the same people that believe in the FEMA death camps, or believed once upon a time.
Why would anyone want a fucking place called Chimney Rock? Hey, that's such prime land. Let's take it and bulldoze it.
Look, the third resurgence of the KKK was here at Stone Mountain. We name shit really bad here, okay?
Now, Chimney Rock is near/on a lithium deposit? Okay. Okay, I can connect the conspiracy dots there. It's a lithium deposit, and we're pushing the EVs, so we need more lithium, so we need to ruin the town of Chimney Rock to get all the lithium out. Oh, this is something that I meant to mention before, but like when we went on our EV rant before. So I'm not blind to the problems that EVs have. So like if you're in an area that gets a lot of flooding, specifically saltwater flooding, that can be dangerous. If the salt water gets into the battery, that can start a fire that is basically impossible to put out. So yeah, like EVs with lithium batteries are not necessarily always the best option, depending on your scenario. But But for my scenario, EVs are great. I love not going to the gas station.
And I also like EVs. My favorite one is Vaporeon.
I don't get that reference.
I'm sad you don't get that reference, but that's okay.
Okay. FEMA has also been accused by former President Donald Trump and other Republicans of not being able to respond well enough to Helene because it's diverted disaster relief funds to help migrants, which is not true because that's separate funding.
Even if it was true, why is it bad to help migrants? Fuck.
So I've never been quite clear on this. My understanding is that the idea is they spent all their budget helping migrants before hurricane season. And so now that there is hurricane season, all the money's gone, so they can't respond properly, even though that's a separate pot of money, so it didn't actually affect it. But the way I read this before I heard that it was like beforehand, it was like FEMA's going into these areas and they're refusing to help the locals, but they are helping the migrants, which is weird. Like, I feel like they just help the humans that live there. Like when FEMA shows up with a bottle of water for you, they're not checking your papers. They just give you the bottle of water.
Because you need the bottle of water.
Yeah,
your migrant status
when they set up a
matter.
Temporary shelter for you to live in while your house gets rebuilt, they're not checking your papers. You're just a person that needs a shelter.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. That one doesn't pass the smell test for me.
I need to see if I can legally help you if I'm legally supposed to discriminate against you.
Yeah, that doesn't pass the smell test for me. But hey, if people were good at determining truth based on what passed the smell test, then Trump wouldn't have been president even once. So.
But why do you think that 50% of the nation wants to vote for him? Why do you think that?
I am hard on crime. I follow the law.
And you'll continue following the law into your presidency.
Into my presidency, yep. Yes, I'm not happy with that answer either, but she did very well at not giving them sound bites. In order to actually make her sound bad, they're going to have to pull longer clips, and we know they don't have the attention span for that.
Harris is very, very good in interviews. Not interviews, in debates. She is not very good in interviews.
I mean, she is good in interviews. Just not necessarily that one. And yeah, and I would argue that she was good in that one.
I don't think she's been good in any of the interviews that she's been in. I think she's been very mediocre in every interview. Her best times are times where she's in confrontation.
Okay. Apparently I said hard on. I don't remember saying that hard on, but that sounds like something I would say. Hard on.
Hard on.
It sounds like the kind of thing I would be likely to say.
It's the subconscious hard on.
Oh, I get those all the time. Does Morningwood count as a subconscious hard on?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. So it's like
I would count it as a subconscious hard on.
So every day. Oh, I said hard on crime. I have a hard on for crime.
Justice.
Justice makes me hard. I'm Batman. Yeah, other false claims that have circulated include that people taking federal relief money could see their land seized, or that the 750 is the most they'll ever get to rebuild, which are both false.
Hello.
Someone 11 bits said 11 justice, I'm hard for you. Wait, was the 11 part of the message, or is that just how many bits you cheered? So justice, I'm hard for you. That makes more sense than 11 justice, unless that's a reference.
I'm hard for 11 justices.
I want 11 justice.
It would be better than the 9 we have.
Yeah, no, 11 justices. Come on, Biden, get on that. I'd get hard for 11 justices.
I like how he hasn't done anything towards that at all, despite saying he would.
Yeah, I mean, in fairness, even if he did anything, he wouldn't, like, it wouldn't pass muster, because, like, I don't know. What about 11 Justins? It depends on the Justins. Are we cloning me 10 times? Or are we, like, finding 10 more people named Justin?
Is it? Because most people named Justin
are assholes.
Is this just going to be that one Fallout vault with all the Garys in it? Gary! Gary!
Back to H Bomber Guy. The only reason I understand that reference is because he mentions that in one of his Fallout videos.
I like that the Garys are now Magic the Gathering cards because we had a Fallout set that came out.
Okay.
So apparently the Magic designers also really like the Gary vault.
Fennec apparently knows two more Justins beside me that are both lovely.
Stoff says just incest.
Just incest? Yeah, okay. I mean, people ask the question, like, oh, if you clone yourself and then have sex with it, is that gay sex or masturbation? I'm like, I don't care, but I'm doing it. I don't care what the answer to that question is. I'm doing it. Why would I not? I know everything that I like. I would be my best lover.
There's nobody who's going to know what you like more than you.
Yeah. So I'm going to be my best lover. So I will have all the gay masturbation and clone sex. That's a clippable moment right there. Just me saying I will have all the gay masturbation clone sex. Okay, and then the FEMA administrator Deanne Criswell said last week that false claims were hurting morale among workers, and she urged people in hard-hit areas to accept the government's offer for acceptance, saying, frankly, that type of rhetoric is demoralizing to our staff that have left their families to come here to help the people of North Carolina, and we will be here as long as they're needed. So, like, yeah, that's what I was getting to, the long-term implications of this. Working for FEMA is not a walk in the park. You're literally leaving your family to go to an emergency situation that is dangerous for you to go to in order to help people for weeks to months at a time. And you get there and you have people literally hunting you down with guns because of lies that Republican politicians are telling. And it's like, I'm not sure that I want to leave my family for that.
Yeah.
So it's more than just... It's not just lies so that they can win an election or whatever. This is actually hurting real people. But we're going to finish on a bit of a happier note. This was also sent to me by E.T. Benson. Cards Against Humanity offers payouts to new swing state voters responding to Musk's PAC. So, okay. This is kind of a fun news item, but it has a very strong undercurrent of, holy shit, your system is fucked up down there. What are you doing, you assholes? So, like, as I was reading about what they were doing, I was like, there is no way this is legal. There is no way this is fucking legal.
But this is the same shit that Elon's doing with the surveys.
Then I read the thing that Elon was, and they were talking about how Elon's thing is probably legal, so theirs is probably legal too. I'm like, how? How is any of this legal? This makes no sense. So, like, everything that I say here, every joke that I make, everything we laugh at about how silly they're being or whatever, just remember that there is a very serious undercurrent of what the fuck is going on with your election system. This is seriously fucked up.
Money is allowed in more places in our election system than should be comfortable.
Oh, that's apparently I clicked on the view original. So yeah. Cards Against Humanity is offering, they say, eligible voters on their website are asked to provide their personal information, which is then checked against voter data that the company said it bought from a data broker, which it says you wouldn't believe how easy it was for us to get this stuff. So yeah, this is another undercurrent here, is that, like, all of your information is for sale online and any company can just buy it. So, like, that's kind of terrifying in and of itself, but that's a separate issue.
Yeah, that's kind of spooky.
So, if you did not vote in 2020, you can go to Cards Against Humanity and they will give you a payout as long as you write an apology for not having voted 4 years ago, assuming you were eligible to vote 4 years ago. If you write an apology for not having voted, you then create a voting plan and then publicly post somewhere, Donald Trump is a human toilet. They will then give you $100.
Oh, that's
I think it's
amazing.
100. I might have the number wrong. Don't quote me on that. I seem to recall it being 100, but I'm not seeing that on my screen at the moment. Rosina says, you thinking you'd want to do yourself while not realizing you can't stand your own stank is peak perverts. What if I like my stank?
What if I don't have a stank because I have good hygiene?
I wash my ass, goddammit.
Look, I'm
not a human toilet like Donald Trump.
I've been in enough card shops that I am perfectly willing to say I will never lose a game of Magic the Gathering to a man with an unwashed ass.
Okay.
Mostly because he'll never be at my fucking table.
So they said the proceeds from the expansion pack, which they did an election-themed expansion pack, I guess, will go to the company's super PAC, which will contribute to the voter initiative. They have increasingly taken a progressive political stance, and in 2017 they started launching anti-Trump campaigns to save America. So this was in response to Elon Musk's PAC, which launched, they were offering $47 to people who refer registered swing state voters, God damn it, I can't talk, swing state voters, to a petition in support of the Constitution's First and Second Amendments. Which seems kind of dumb. Like, they're already amendments to the Constitution. You don't need petitions to support them. It's already the law of the land. So...
Shisha says, I just have fresh stank, Cirrus. Ah, yes, the smell of freshly ironed linen sheets.
After sex, everything smells like sweaty ass.
Yeah, that's why you shower after sex.
Yeah, I am aware of that. But there is a time period where you will smell the stank.
I guess.
Musk launched a pro-Trump super PAC this year, and so far has contributed more than $87 million to Trump's campaign, which is a big fucking yikes for me, bro. That shouldn't be allowed.
No, it shouldn't, but...
And Drew Harrison is pointing out that PAC is a political action committee. I probably should have clarified that. Yes, basically, it would be illegal for Elon Musk to give $87 million to Trump's campaign because there are limits to how much you can give to a politician's campaign because they don't want people buying politicians. So Musk set up a super PAC, which there is no limit to how much a super PAC can give to a campaign. So someone...
Which is just... It's a legal loophole.
Yeah, it's a legal loophole that allows individuals to contribute shit tons of money to political campaigns and buy politicians. And it's stupid. It shouldn't be allowed, but it is. So UCLA School of Law professor Richard Hasen said he didn't think Musk's PAC program broke any campaign finance laws since it didn't pay people to directly vote, register to vote, or vote in a particular way or not vote. It's just very highly targeted towards people who would lean towards Republicans. And so, like, that's a big old yikes. And, like, I was reading the Cards Against Humanity thing, and I'm like, as much as I support the idea of paying people who lean Democrat to vote, I recognize that this is problematic as fuck.
Yeah, we shouldn't live in a system where this is okay. But while we're here...
Yeah.
We may as well go ahead and, get more Democrats voting.
Yeah, so they're aiming at Musk directly, writing that registered swing state voters could participate in his PAC's program and list Cards Against Humanity as their referrer. So they're actually saying that they should go to Musk's petition or whatever. Says if you're a registered voter in any of these states, just type your name into this dumb website for his PAC, put muskisdumb@cah.lol as your referrer, and they'll be legally obligated to pay Cards Against Humanity $47. And then they say if he doesn't pay up, they'll sue him again. So if you're in one of those states, go ahead and fucking do that. Like, there's not really much in it for you, but like, you'll be making Musk pay an organization that fucking hates him. Yeah, I thought I read that in this article. I'm not seeing an exact price. I thought it was $100, so I might be wrong about that. But yeah. I think it's fucked up that you can pay people to do stuff like this. Like, this is very clearly trying to get voters of a certain persuasion to support your thing.
Yup.
Fennec says Control F is your friend. I don't think it's here because I read. Yeah, no, 100 does not appear on this page. So, yeah, no, I don't know where I got that from. But yeah, I like that. I like that they are doing this. I don't like that this is a thing that can be done. If that makes sense.
No, it makes sense, because otherwise you'd have people doing the very, very big brained thing where they go, "Oh, Democrats only don't like it when their opponents do it."
I don't like it when my friends do it. Okay, no, I take it back. I do like it when my friends do it. I don't like that they're allowed to do it. As long as they are allowed to do it, I am glad that they're taking part, but it should not be allowed.
Roar Wolf, thank you for resubscribing.
But yeah, I appreciate that they are doing the thing that, like, companies that are more concerned with their with appearing politically correct are less willing to do. So yeah. Okay. Hey, we're making good time tonight. What's wrong with us?
I think it's the fact that we're both tired, and mostly of politics. I think both of us are going to be very happy when politics gets boring.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait for Kamala to win and for me to stop caring who the fuck the president of the United States is.
Yeah, same.
My concern, like, Trump is old, and I'm very concerned that when he dies, like, it doesn't matter how he dies, there's going to be a conspiracy theory about how the liberals killed him.
I mean, yeah, they're just going to say the Clintons did it.
I am so fucking concerned about that. Like, it's like, I want him to see time in jail for his crimes. With the Supreme Court, it's looking less and less likely that that's actually going to happen. But like, so like at this point, I'm just kind of hoping that, like, I'm hoping that it happens after the election, because if it happens before, then everybody's going to be like, oh no, they he's deteriorating very, very rapidly. So like, if he's got dementia, that's a big downhill, and it could potentially spell the end for him very soon. Obviously I'm not a doctor. I'm just speaking from like my experience with my grandmother who had dementia.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know, but like if he dies before the election, then it's going to be like this massive outcry from the MAGA people. If he dies after the election, there's still going to be a massive outcry or whatever, but because it's after the election, it won't have the same momentum. It won't spark the same kind of movement that it has the potential to if it happens before, if that makes sense. So like,
Ryu in my chat says that his dad and grandpa both have it and died from complications from it.
And the fact that he's in denial about it means that he might not be seeking treatment, which means it might come earlier. And I'm not going to pretend like I'm going to be upset when it happens.
No,
I will be very happy about it, but like, I'm very concerned about the fallout from it. But also, like, if he gets elected, you're essentially voting for JD Vance as president, and that is almost as scary as Donald Trump.
I'd say it's actually more scary because
he actually
is competent.
Well, I wouldn't go so far as to say he is competent. I was going to say he has a degree of competency that is lacking in Trump.
No, he has a degree in competency because he actually does have a degree.
Yeah, and he's bankrolled by Peter Thiel. So, yeah, no, it's concerning, but hopefully, like, if he loses this election, then hopefully we just won't have to deal with him ever again. That
would be the hope.
That is the ideal.
God damn it, Crazy Maiden. I didn't even notice that you had a fucking whoop there. I completely skimped my mind, probably because I'm used to forgetting that those are a thing. You know, for my own brain's sake.
Yeah. All right. Shall we do some tweets?
No, but I guess we can.
Well, we're starting with answers in Genesis.
Oh, great.
They say, though embarrassing, a growling stomach reminds us that the Creator designed our bodies to uniquely sound the alarm when it's time for our next meal.
What? But it... God, I'm so happy that the Creator made stomach growls.
But also, like, stomach growls is just like, literally, it's just air moving through your intestines. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Like, that's literally it. So it's like, and like, do you not feel hungry before you hear that you're hungry? Like, I get that, like, you can train yourself to not feel hungry to a certain extent.
Yeah, to a degree, you can do that.
Vice versa. This is the problem that I have. I snack so much that, like, I will start eating things when I am bored and not actually hungry because my body is sending me signals that I need to eat something just because that's what I do when I'm bored. So, like, is that intelligent design?
No, that's habits. And I'm not going to lie, habits are one of the best and also worst parts of being a human being.
Yeah, I can see that.
Said Cirrus has a habit of ignoring my redeems regardless. Ninjess, thank you for the... Ninjess, thank you for the 100 bits. Said, see Bill Murray, this man has no dick. 2, I'm not trying to ignore it. I'm just also on a stream with someone else who also has redeems.
Yeah, I know, but mine don't happen very often, so you can interrupt my stream for your redeems.
Don't tell them that.
No, you can. I don't mind. You can do it. Please your audience, Cirrus. Fillate them right now.
All of them at once?
All of them. Yep. It's more fun that way.
I feel like I should do less of that thing.
Rosina says, didn't the orange one's grandfather die of Spanish flu, not Alzheimer's? I don't know. Cirrus is the one who made that claim.
No, I didn't make that claim. I read somebody else making that claim.
Cirrus, look at the hat. It is our claim.
Wolf and Geo Burdette, thank you for resubscribing. God.
Do it.
Fuck. What am I even supposed to do?
You know what you're supposed to do?
No, actually, legitimately, I don't.
This is the same lead up you normally give to when someone redeems an uwu, so I thought that's what was coming.
No.
Okay.
It's nothing coming. Nothing's coming except me.
Okay, that's fair. Darwin to Jesus says they really struggle with this. And it's the meme with the guy choosing between the two buttons, which say accuse God of being evil and accept objective morality as both the buttons. And they were so proud of this that they put their little copyright thing.
Do they not realize that, like, objective morality works in atheistic frameworks too? Like, all objective morality cares about is that we have a thing to fucking point to. That's the one thing that it cares about. Christians believe that one thing is either God, the Word of God, or the Bible, depending on which one they think is that thing. But there's plenty of atheistic philosophers who are objective moral realists.
Here's the thing. Okay, yeah, whatever. All that philosophy bullshit, whatever. I have videos about that. You can watch my videos about that. Cirrus probably has videos about that. You can watch Cirrus's videos about that. We probably have videos where we've talked about that on stream. Whatever. The morality conversation has been done to death, and I will continue to do it to death from here on out. The reason I chose this one is because this person doesn't understand how this meme works. These are supposed to be two things that it's difficult to choose between. Like, so either you can accuse God of being evil, or you accept objective morality. Usually, these people would present this as though, like, if you accuse God of being evil, that means you are accepting objective morality. And objective morality comes from God, therefore you have killed yourself with this argument or whatever. But it's like, okay, no, I'll just push the left button. It's fine. Left button. Not a hard time choosing. So, like, the thing that I find funny about this is just that he doesn't understand the meme, and he was so proud of it that he put his watermark on it.
Yeah, it would have made way more sense if you had one of those memes where it's like, when I feel like A, but B.
Or the meme with the guy holding the person back from the big ball or whatever, where, like, the big ball is accuse God of being evil, and it's objective morality holding the atheist back from being able to accuse the ball of being evil. That would have made more sense. Like,
there's plenty of ways to make this work instead of this.
Yeah. Oh.
And instead, we get this non-meme.
Yeah.
PJ Blazer says, respond with the hit both buttons meme. Jeez. Are you desperately trying to find the meme, Rhino?
No, I am. I'm actually actively generating the meme.
Oh, okay.
Because it's so fucking easy to do.
Yep, there you go. There you go.
I'm sorry that the framing's off.
But that's the meme. There it is.
Yeah, the ball is accused God of being evil. Atheists are the guy reaching for the ball. Objective morality is holding him back. That's what he was trying to do. But he sucks, so this is what he ended up with. Yeah, so I'm just dunking on his meme instead of actually talking about the thing.
So what you're saying is he needs to hire somebody who's really, really young and actually understands internet humor?
Sirs, that's the nicest thing you've ever said about me. Are you saying I'm really, really young and understand internet humor?
No, but I think you've hired people who are.
I'm so touched. Come on. I came up with that on the fly, goddammit.
I don't know what you have in your ear.
Yeah, but like, okay, come on. You saw me typing that into my friggin' thing. You saw me like
for all I know, it was you on Discord typing in, please send help, how do I be funny?
You know what kind of a goddamn perfectionist I am with regards to this stupid shit. You think that this framing of the meme is something that I would find acceptable if I hadn't just done this on the fly?
So what you're saying is I
am young and I understand the culture, sirs. I'm young and I understand internet culture.
I'm glad you think that.
I have the skibbity riz. Plow King has spoken.
You have the skibbity riz, so you're charging a phantom tax?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I'm glad. I hate every word that came out of both of our mouths right there, just so you know.
I know. I do too. So Eric Hoven, I'm not going to read this whole thing. This is just me being jealous. So Evil Universe me, he's on a mission trip to Fiji. Other people are giving donations that are tax deductible for Eric Hovind to go to a tropical paradise so that he can go up in front of a school and be like, hey, God created the universe 6,000 years ago. See ya, I'm going to the beach. What the fuck? I want to be a bad guy, Cirrus.
So you can get paid to lie to people?
Bad guy. Why can't I just be a bad guy?
Because you would make more money and then we wouldn't be friends.
Hey, guys, come on, audience. Give me and Cirrus money, and we will go on a mission trip to Fiji to try and undo some of Eric Hoven's damage. Send us to Fiji, and we will talk to these school children and tell them that evolution's actually real, and explain why.
You realize that because of the trolling nature...
We will give our 1-hour presentation on why evolution is true, and then we will fuck off and go to the beach, just like Eric Hovind is doing.
You know that with the trolling nature of both of our audiences, they're going to take that as a challenge to just mail a bottle of Fiji water to our P.O. boxes.
Rosina says, Vice Rhino is young and sexy, and that's why he's never watched Full Metal Alchemist. Goddamn right, Rosina. Thank you so much.
Sidebar, you should watch Full Metal Alchemist.
Probably, yeah.
It's actually fairly short for an anime.
EB the Nerd says the start of Rhino's villain arc. No, if you've been watching my channel for long enough, I think the first time I said anything public about it was in one of my Ian Juby responses, because Ian Juby is a creationist in Canada. He's from my neck of the woods. He's a fucking idiot, and his organization is a registered charity, so he pays no taxes because he draws a salary from them. And it's a big fucking scam. And when I was responding to him, I legitimately looked into what it would take to register my channel as a charity, because I'm like, okay, well, if a fucking creationist organization can just be like, Charles Lyle was an idiot, ho ho ho, and call that charity work, so that's basically what Ian Juby does. He just looks at people like smart scientists from history and calls them idiots, because and he'll flex that he has a high enough IQ to make it into Mensa, which, if anything, just proves that IQ is bogus. I already thought that IQ was bogus, and then I found out that Ian Juby has a high enough IQ to make it into Mensa, and I'm like, okay, that proves it. IQ is bogus. So I legitimately looked into what it would take for me to register as a charity. And if you're not a religion, there's so much goddamn oversight. Like, I could probably technically do it, like call myself an educational institution or whatever. But like, there's so much oversight that I would probably lose my house should my charity status ever be revoked. And there's a non-zero chance that it would be revoked. Whereas if I was just a religion, it'd be like, yeah, no, I'm a religion. You don't get to look into any of my stuff.
Nope.
And like, why? Why is that the case? I don't understand it.
Well, you see, runs away hiding.
Yeah.
America and Canada both have a rich history of being kind of fucking bad about this.
Well, yeah, the assumption is that like people, like religious people are like people of God, and people of God are moral automatically, as the dirty atheists that are immoral. So Duct Tape Jake says, clearly just say you're a religion then, easy. It's actually not as easy in Canada as it is in the States. If I was in the States, I absolutely could just declare myself religion, essentially. It makes me mad that Cameron Bertuzzi constantly asks people for money as though he's hurting. When it's like, he gets a similar amount of views as me, so like I know what kind of money he makes on the YouTube side of things, and on Patreon he makes a shit ton more than I do. And the fact that he's always begging for money, talking about how he's running his channel at a deficit, I'm just like, bitch, please. If you're running at a deficit, that's a spending problem on your part. That is not, you do not need more money.
Jeez.
But that's a whole nother can of worms. I want to be a bad guy. I want to be a bad guy is the moral of the story.
Cameron makes me upset when I hear his name. Is that a bad thing? Does that mean I have a...
No.
Is that like an unhealthy thing for me?
No, he makes me upset too. I actually... So when I dug into his finances a little, because like he doesn't have to divulge a lot, but because he is a charity, there is some divulgence. I may have stumbled across his home address.
Whoa.
And I may have found it on Google Maps and the Street View. And I will just say, I was not surprised at all to find out that Cameron is the kind of person that mows his lawn topless while wearing a backwards ball cap.
Like, he just sounds like a douche then.
I saw that on Google Street View and was like, yeah, nope, that actually tracks. That tracks. Okay. I'm not going to tell you how to find his address, but I did find his address. And Rosina says, also watch Ranma half for the full Riz power up. I don't understand that reference. I'm sorry.
Ranma 1/2. It just got a remake literally a couple weeks ago and is currently having episodes put out weekly, I believe. I need to watch it as well. It is an anime about a guy who ends up getting a harem around him, and the guy itself, Ranma, falls into a cursed lake that makes him turn into a girl anytime he gets hit with cold water. Hot water turns him back into a dude.
I think we've talked about this before.
Yes. It is a very fucking funny show because he did not consent to a single one of the people that he ends up getting betrothed to during the entirety of this show. It is a combination of his dad trying to get, like, he'll try to get them a room for a month somewhere and be like, hey, I'll set up an arranged marriage between my son and your daughter. And he just does it multiple times to multiple people. And it just makes Ranma's life worse and worse every time it fucking happens.
Okay. 3050 Annoyingly Feral Peccary's newsletter says, so if Cirrus registered the religion, then Rhino just opens a Canadian branch, ... Yeah, no, that wouldn't actually work because of Canada's stricter requirements for starting a religion. So I am an ordained minister of whatever that religion is, that essentially you just pay them like $40 and they send you a certificate saying you're allowed to perform marriages. I'm not allowed to perform marriages in Canada because they don't recognize that as a religion. Universal Life Church, is that it? I don't know. I don't know what religion I'm an ordained minister of. I just know that I'm an ordained minister.
Okay. That's certainly a way to do it.
Yeah, no, I literally did that to win a Twitter fight. because somebody was like, oh, well, this guy's more qualified than you to talk about it because he's a minister. I was like, okay. I went and signed up and was like, here's my certificate with my name blacked out. I'm an ordained minister now. Does this mean I'm just as qualified as him? Because, like, being an ordained minister means fucking nothing. But yeah, Canada actually has some standards as to what counts as a religion, so that one doesn't count because they are very clearly just, like, registering people to perform marriages and do funerals and whatnot.
But you are an ordained minister, so
I am,
technically.
yes. But not in Canada is my point there. Anyway, Jacob says, how is being objective racism? Also, it would be more xenophobic not to be racist given that Japan is a country, not a race. So, some context for this. Someone posted a video of, like, I forget what the show was called. Where are we? This was the video.
Oh yeah, that's from Trigun.
Yeah. And
hello.
Yeah. So this guy's response to that video was basically to say, like, oh, Japanese people don't understand the physics of guns. Haha. And it's like,
it's a
like
fucking anime.
It's a fucking, yeah, it's an anime that, like, very clearly that was not going for realism. I don't think anyone
going for fucking hilarious.
I don't think anyone saw that and thought, yeah, this is a realistic thing that someone would do with a gun. Like, no, it's supposed to be funny and over the top and ridiculous. And so people were calling him racist for saying, like, oh, Japanese people don't understand guns because this show that was very clearly trying to be silly about it did a silly gun. And this was his response, was like, oh, how is being objective racism? And then he gets into the, like, oh, so this reminded me of the, like, the people that are like, oh, it's not pedophilia, it's technically...
It's ebophilia.
Sure, whatever. I was going to say hemophilia, but then I'm like, no, that's a blood disorder.
It's not pedophilia, they just like the blood, the adrenochrome, if you will.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like, no, if you're splitting hairs over, like, oh, technically if a girl is above the age of 13 but below the age of 16 it's this, but if she's over 16 but under 18 it's that, and if she's under 12 it's this. If you're splitting hairs, but you're just a pedophile. Sorry, that's just how it works.
You're just trying to find a way to fuck a kid at that point.
Well, it's not racist because, you know, Japanese isn't a race, it's a nationality, so, like, it's more xenophobic than racist. Like, no, you're just a fucking racist. You telling me you don't have racist opinions about Chinese people as well? Or Korean people? Like, yeah, no, you're just a racist.
You know who else doesn't understand guns? Americans. You know why? Because we think they're things to be worshipped.
Yeah. B. Joshua says, he has a mile-long gun but still turns invisible. It's not serious. Yeah, notably when he turned invisible, his gun was still visible.
Yep.
Like, I feel like someone would have seen the gun before they saw him.
No, fucking Trigun is filled with that kinds of stuff. It is a very over-the-top anime, and it's also very, very good.
Okay. Yeah, I just thought it was funny, and it reminded me very much of the, like, the people splitting hairs over the differences between what age of underage technically counts as pedophilia. I'm just like, nope, you're splitting hairs over something that just makes you a bad person. Okay, next up. This is just a screenshot that I saved that someone posted that I just saved the screenshot. I want to see if you can figure it out. It is Hollow Knight related, but I feel like you should be able to figure it out. Just take a moment.
It's loss.
Yeah.
It's just loss.
It's Hollow Knight loss.
Yeah, it's just loss. It's all loss. It's always loss.
It's the Nail Master.
It's always loss.
Notably, if you don't kill the Nail Master in the bottom left corner, because, like, the little dude there, your knight, he, like, the Nail Master upgrades your nail, and then when it becomes the pure nail, he's just like, hey, my life's work is done now. I've never made a better weapon than this. And the only way to complete my life is for you to strike me dead with this beautiful weapon that I've made, because nothing could possibly compare to that. And so he wants you to kill him, and if you kill him, then his body shows up in another area that's, like, below this one in the map. But if you don't kill him, he ends up in a absolutely adorable and wholesome gay relationship with a painter.
Now his life has more meaning.
Yeah. So I can never bring myself to kill him. Like, I did it once for the achievement, and I felt horrible about it. So I'm like, oh, but it was so wholesome when he was like a happy couple with the painter guy. And it was so great. I did also once.
My brain is poisoned by Lost. I'm so sorry.
I don't know. Whenever I see Lost, I always back to the H-Bomber guy thing. Anytime I see Lost, I picture him crawling naked, covered in goop, out of the middle of a printout of the comic. And I'm just like, so I have emailed him to be like, hey, you want to come on our show for an interview? I'm expecting to never get a response to that, and so far that has been the case. But if he ever does come on the show, I just want to ask, what the fuck was with all the little side skits in your Control-Delete thing? It's like, I have an idea of what it was supposed to be, but I also, like, I feel like my idea of what it was supposed to be is one of those things where, like, I could absolutely see him doing that because it's just ridiculous, but I could also see me just missing the point entirely. So, like, my idea is that, like, because that whole video is all about how Control-Delete is just senseless and, like violence for violence' sake, and just randomly going back to a storyline that tries to be serious, like, nothing really is cohesive or makes sense about the comic. I feel like his asides in there are a meta commentary about that, where, like, I just do these things that make no sense and don't tie into it whatsoever, and that makes it good, right? I feel like that's the point, but I also feel like I could have just missed the point.
He's also done that in a lot of other videos too. Like,
yeah, but in the other videos, they actually seem to kind of tie in.
I mean, does it really tie in when you're breaking down a wall with an axe just to say?
No, but that wasn't like that wasn't a bit that ran the entire length of the video, though. That was just like a one-off. Like, I do shit like that in my videos.
Sell the houses to who, Ben? Fucking Aquaman.
Yeah, but like that's a one-off bit. That's not a whole plot line that makes no sense, that is running parallel to the main video. I don't know.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I might be thinking too much about it, but I also might just be missing it. I don't know. I want to ask him. Everybody email H-Bomber guy and be like, hey, you need to do the interview from the guy that emailed you a couple weeks ago. Okay. Russell Brand says, heaven is a place for broken people. It's like, okay, then heaven's not perfect.
Yeah.
Also, I find it curious that he became a Christian right around the time that people started coming out with sexual assault allegations against him. Seems like he recognized that the right wing is more willing to tolerate shit people and give them money as long as they say what they want them to say.
Did you ever watch The Boys?
No.
Because that's what one of the characters in The Boys does when sexual assault allegations start coming against her. She just leans really heavily into the, I'm a born-again Christian.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that God has a plan for me. And I know that he will use me despite how broken I am.
Yeah. Yeah, Russell Brand is very clearly grifting. And it makes me sad that people are falling for it, but I'm not really surprised.
Christians will take any W they can get.
I mean, he's also, did you see that he's selling magical amulets that protect you from the 5G?
What? But,
yeah, for like $400 a pop.
But why?
Because he can. Come on, if you could sell a fucking cheap ass amulet for $400 that costs you maybe $5 to make or to have drop shipped or whatever. Like, if you could do it without lying to people, would you not do it?
If I could do it without lying to people, sure.
Yes, and that's my
thing. But what's the way that you do it without lying to people?
Well, you don't. That's why we don't do it. Because we have morals.
Like, I feel like you... It's like I've made a point to say on my channel, like, everybody has their price. Everybody has that magical number that will make them do something horrible.
I don't know that that's true.
I am a very cynical bastard. I believe it is true of most people. The problem, though, is that if you think about that as a finite amount, but your trustworthiness goes out the window forever, how do you handle that?
I don't know.
How do you sleep with that?
Here's the thing, because, yeah, that's my thing, is that I think long term, and I think of the impact that my words have on the people that I talk to. So I'm like, easy example is established titles. They were going to pay me $1,200 a month to rerun an ad that I had already recorded just once a month in my videos, and like I didn't have to do anything else. I could even shit talk them in my other videos and be like, hey, yeah, you know, the established titles ad, don't do it. Just fucking ignore those ads. They're just paying me a shit ton of money to do it. It's like $1,200 a month.
It's not going to undo the endorsement.
I have been in situations where like $1,200 a month was my entire income for the month. That's not a fun place to be. $1,200 a month is a lot of money. And it was they were offering me that for no work. And like, yeah, I can't say that my answer to them would have been different if it was like $100,000 a month. I don't think I would have done it, because like looking long term, it's like, yeah, no, I have now made it obvious that I'm willing to lie for money. Is that something that I'm willing to do for myself? And no, I don't think it is.
Yeah, because once you start...
Okay, that being said, I do have a soft spot for my children. So, like, I might not personally have a monetary number, but, like, if you're like, oh, I will take care of all of your children, make sure they are comfortable for their entire lives, and, like, they will never have to worry about paying the bills, I could see that being a motivation for me.
And doing something likewise where they go, hey, you get $1 million, but your kids get, $3 million each or something to survive off of when they become adults. Like, stuff like that would end up running into, I imagine that could end up running into being an issue. Yeah. But the problem, though, is that those are all one-off things.
Yes.
What Russell Brand is doing is not that.
Well, I mean,
and it is a constant grift that has to be maintained. So
the way I phrased it was not a one-off thing. It was like, if you take care of my children for the rest of their lives and make sure they will never have trouble paying their bills. It's like, I don't know that there is one monetary amount that is going to guarantee that.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I would be willing to do things for my kids that I would not be willing to do for myself, is what I'm getting at here.
No, and that's fair. That's fair. There are areas you would not stoop to yourself, but there are areas you would stoop to make sure that they are safe.
As a pure hypothetical, if me trashing my reputation meant that my kids were going to be safe and happy and healthy for the rest of their lives, I would probably do it. I'm not going to lie. And that's actually the problem, is that I'm not going to lie.
And there is that price that I talked about. Everybody has...
Okay, maybe you're right. My price is not a monetary value. It's about, okay, whatever.
It's about the well-being of your kids.
Yeah.
My issue that I run into, though, is that anytime that I think of that hypothetical, it's a one-off thing.
Yeah.
This is the price that you would pay once in order to gain this. When I'm looking at something like what Russell Brand is doing, it's not a one-off thing anymore. This is somebody who is compromising their trustworthiness. And the thing is it's a Faustian bargain. You have to compromise your trustworthiness to begin with in order to start the grift.
And now the only people who are going to be willing to hang out with you are the people who are you are acting
also
to be
lying.
Yeah.
The only people who are willing to be around you anymore are the monsters that you are, the monster that you've become for that grift. And if you hop off of that grift, people aren't going to look at you and go, oh, I'm so happy you stopped that. They're going to look at you and scrutinize you even further. They're going to go, you hopped off of one train. How do we know this isn't you hopping onto another train?
Yeah. Rosina says you can buy a bundle of 4 magic amulets for under $600 US. Don't know what that is in Canadian fake money units. 600 would be probably about 800 Canadian. I think. Yeah. I don't know. I can Google it.
Yeah, Cromcake says that this is why grifts are bad. Yeah, because you have to maintain them. You have to maintain a
600
grift.
US is 825 Canadian at the moment.
Right, the biggest problem with any grift is the maintenance.
Shauria says, guy with no formal background in engineering did this. You can just do things. I hate to break it to you. The guy with no formal background in engineering had nothing to do with this. He might have said at one point, hey, what if booster rockets could be reused? But then...
That's not the same thing as doing it.
Then the people with the engineering backgrounds did it.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, no.
He was not the engineer that did it.
He is an idiot who got lucky with a bunch of money from an emerald mine from his father, and managed to. It was like, when you start with that kind of money, it's hard to not make more money.
And hey, if I understand, it's slightly after, or it's 10:30, so it's after 10. Your timing is wrong.
You take Growlithe out, because I have to take myself out. So I'm going to go pee. You take Growlithe out at the same time, and we can...
we'll be back at the same time.
You know what? Someone earlier was like, hey, instead of singing, why don't you do a performance of 4:33? So we'll call this our performance of 4:33. So you have to take 4 minutes and 33 seconds to leave. So this is it. This is our musical performance for the night.
Come on, Growly. Let's go.
Is Cirrus here, or am I alone? Oh, YouTuber Grudge is leaving. Is this because we started performing 4:33? Yeah, so with regards to Musk, it's just like... I used to think, back before I lost all respect for Musk, I never had a lot, but like I used to think the thing that made him special was that like he had good ideas, and then the other people, then like the engineers and scientists he hired would make his ideas come true. Then it became abundantly clear that he doesn't actually have good ideas. He just has a lot of ideas. So he just spews out all of the ideas that he has and then pays a bunch of people to try and make them all work. And occasionally he gets one that kind of pans out. So like, that's his thing. He has enough money to pay people to kind of make his ideas sort of work. And like, I think the Cybertruck is a quintessential example of that, where like he had an idea of the truck that he wanted to make, and it wasn't a good idea, but he paid enough people to make it happen, and so it kind of happened. Sorta. It's like, it was supposed to be $40,000, but the cheapest one you can get is like $90,000. So, So, yeah, no, he just said in a room full of engineers once, what if we could reuse booster rockets? And so the engineers were like, I guess we better work on that. So that is how you got this. This wasn't Elon Musk doing this. This was Elon Musk paying other people to do this. But we'll wait for Cirrus to get back before we move on to the next one. Oh, does the Cybertruck catch fire when it's wet?
Does the Cybertruck catch fire when it's wet?
I hadn't heard that one yet. I know that it's nowhere near as good as it's supposed to be, and it's a lot more expensive than it's supposed to be.
I keep seeing more Cybertrucks in the wild.
I still have only seen 2, which I think was the same number as last time I talked about it. Yeah, no, I was just talking about how, like, Elon hasn't actually made any of this happen. He has just paid other people to make them happen, and even then, like, I used to think that he was an idea guy, where, like, he might have really good ideas, but yeah, he'll pay other people to make them happen. But recently, it's not that he's an idea guy, it's that he just has a lot of ideas, and he tries to make them happen, and he funnels a lot of money into the ones that he's the most passionate about, and then they kind of happen. And so Cybertruck is the quintessential example of that, because like that's clearly his baby that he really wanted to happen, but then like when it comes to market, it's twice the price of what he said it would be, and has a lot of problems.
Yup.
And yeah, it makes me very concerned that SpaceX gets government money. It's like Elon takes more money in from the government than even the most prolific of welfare queens that you could imagine. And he doesn't actually do anything for it. Yeah, maybe SpaceX does stuff for it, but like the idea that he's in charge of SpaceX is terrifying. Like, even when they're doing good work, like he could, with a word, completely alter the American space program. And that's terrifying, because he's unstable.
Yeah, the last kind of billionaire you want in charge of anything is an unstable billionaire, which also just happens to be all of them.
Yeah. All right, so this, I broke my rule. I pulled someone else's screenshot, but I have verified that this is a true thing. But yeah, Trump got upset that Harris was like, hey, yeah, I released my medical records. Why doesn't he? And his response to that was not to release his medical records, was to be like, oh, well, she has allergic rhinitis and allergic conjunctivitis. Oh, no, those are very messy and dangerous situations. These are deeply serious conditions that clearly impact her function.
What?
No, it's seasonal allergies, buddy.
Seasonal allergies don't deeply, like what?
If you can solve this problem with an antihistamine, it's not a deeply dangerous situation.
The only reason that he can say that with a straight face is he knows his audience is too stupid to know what those things are.
Yeah, Fennec says, not messy, just as annoying as hell. Counterpoint, I have a 6-year-old who produces more snot than any person I've ever seen before, and he has seasonal allergies. So, yes, messy as hell. Messy as fuck. But still, you can be president and have allergies. He's probably got dementia, and he's not releasing his medical records. If the worst thing he could find out about Harris from her medical records was that she has seasonal allergies, then I feel pretty good about her medical records.
Yup.
Hitchmeister says, how's she supposed to golf 300 days a year with hay fever? But, yeah. So I'm not reading that whole tweet. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Twitter Engineering says, soon we'll be launching a change to how the block function works. If your posts are set to public, accounts you have blocked will be able to view them, but they will not be able to engage, like, reply, retweet, etc. So, yeah. Empowering stalkers.
Yeah, that's all that does, which I guess makes sense since Elon Musk is a consummate stalker.
Well, so this all happened when this all proceeds from when Elon found out that he is the most blocked account on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
That was when he started talking about just removing the block function entirely. And then the EU was like, yeah, but that would violate our safety rules, so then we'd have to make you illegal. So then he was like, okay, I guess we won't do that. And I guess this is their compromise, because they still technically can't interact. But, like, this is just Elon making decisions based on his own ego. Like, people block me, which means they don't see my posts. So if I make it so that when you block someone, you can still see their posts. Well, no, I suppose it doesn't say anything about what happens when you block someone, because, like, right now, when I block someone, it gives me a little thing. It was like, oh, this is an account that you've blocked. Click show to show it, or whatever. So maybe it'll still hide the post from you, but this is still him trying to make himself as visible as possible to everyone else. And this is pushing me much closer towards a future where I just lock down my account, don't do anything publicly anymore, and only log in for screenshots for Twit tweets. And realistically, like, this is, like, eventually this is going to push me to Threads or Blue Sky or whatever takes over from Twitter, because I'm sure there's idiots over there by now.
Almost everybody's doing Blue Sky, it looks like, and Blue Sky actually has something called the Sky Follower Bridge, which will take all of your followers from Twitter and just allow you to refollow them automatically over on Blue Sky.
Okay.
You could just migrate everything.
Maybe I'll do that. I will give that a try, maybe. I was on Threads for a while, but then I just kept forgetting about it. So, but, like, if Twitter keeps getting worse, eventually I'm just not going to want to go. Like, it's even, when Musk first took over, it was actually good for Twit tweets, because it was so much easier to find the shit posters and the idiots, which does not speak well of Twitter.
No.
But it made my life a little bit easier. But now it's getting to the point where, like, the accounts that I'm seeing coming up are, like, the For You page is just, it's a big shit show or whatever, but that's where I find a lot of the stuff that I use. But now it's just, like, it's accounts trying to, like, sell me things that I can 3D print myself, or is just posting clips from The Simpsons, or one of the most concerning trends is, like, I am now increasingly more likely to, as I'm just scrolling through Twitter's timeline, there'll just be a video of someone actually dying.
Oh, the one with the guy getting hit by the train?
Oh, no, not the one. There are a bunch,
multiple.
Like, there are several accounts that post, like, shocking content, and a lot of the shocking content involves people actually dying. So I'm like, I don't actually want to see people dying. That is not a thing that I want to see in my life. I don't need that. So, I don't know. It's just making it much less appealing for me. It was like, I'm not going to pull a clip of someone dying to play here. So yeah, Twitter is working hard to make itself unappealing to someone whose job is literally finding unappealing stuff on Twitter. Like, how the fuck did they fuck that one up? So yeah.
Great, isn't it?
I wish Twitter a very speedy bankruptcy. Oh yeah, then they replied to that. They're ostensibly, the reason they're doing this is because a block can be used by users to share and hide harmful or private information about those they've blocked. Users will be able to see if such behavior occurs with this update. Was that ever a problem of someone, like, blocking you and then sharing your home address, and now you can't see it because you're blocked?
No, because what people would do is they would just
create an alt account.
They would just create an alt account and stalk you on there.
Yeah.
Like, the goal was to always make it just a little bit harder. Like, you make it to where they have to do that. They have to spend time making a separate account. They have to actively do what they can to stalk you.
Yeah, I have a second account because, like, to circumvent blocks or whatever. But B. Josher says, just open Twitter, not logged in. That doesn't work anymore. You have to log in to see posts now.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, they are aware of that. So back when you could do that pre-Musk. Yeah, no, Musk is just making Twitter worse, which is quite the feat, I will admit. Because it was not great to begin with. Also, the thing that he gets the most credit for, the notes, the community notes, that was a feature that was
a feature before him.
It was rolled out before he bought it. It just wasn't widely rolled out. So he gets to take credit for that when it wasn't his idea. It was other people. It was the people that he bought it from.
I just found out that Quest64 official on Twitter has a Blue Sky account. I don't have to lose the best Twitter account that exists.
All right. I'm happy for you.
You should follow the Quest64. It's wonderful.
Travis Edrington says, the internet is for porn. The internet is for porn, but avoid Twitter for it is too messed up. Yeah, no, there used to be a lot of porn on Twitter. I'm seeing more people dying on Twitter than I'm seeing porn.
I miss seeing the porn on Twitter.
Yeah. It was fun. You'd be scrolling, then occasionally like, oh, that's a nice butt. And then you just keep scrolling. It was nice.
I was in the Georgia Capitol when I went to lobby. I was scrolling on Twitter in the Capitol when porn popped up, and I'm like, oh, that happened.
Yeah, no. Like, it's not where I would go to seek out porn, but it's like, as you're scrolling your feed, it's like, that's a nice looking naked person. I appreciate that. And keep scrolling. Whereas like now it's like, oh, that is someone who just lost their life. That is traumatic. I did not want to see that. But, yeah. Oh, and that's it for the tweets. So that's the show. We got to complain about Twitter a bunch.
Yay, like always.
I mean, it's Twit tweets. That's kind of my whole shtick.
When are we going to start doing Twit threads and Twit Sky?
The name's staying the same. It's always going to be tweets. And since Twitter has given up the moniker, I can use that to apply it to anything now. So
it's
sure.
True.
Every post is a tweet from all accounts because they don't want to use that anymore. They just wanted to make it generic for some reason.
They're very dumb.
I mean, they're run by Elon, who we've established his success has been in as much as he can pay people to do things that he couldn't ever think of. They're saying no case orbs? No case orbs. He's getting too sad. I'm starting to find myself almost actually feeling bad for the guy because he's so pathetic now. Like he was posting links to his Cameo where you can pay him to say things that he doesn't agree with. Like he did the intro to Scathing Atheist one week, which is they do the Professor Farnsworth quote where he says, as a professor of science, I assure you that we did in fact evolve from filthy monkey men. So it wasn't the Scathing guys, it was like one of their fans went to Cameo and paid Kevin Sorbo to do that quote. And so like he has to say it if he wants the money. So he said it, but then he gave a big long thing after him, like, I don't even know what that means, and I don't think that I agree with it. And just like, but he was desperate for that $50 or whatever it is. So he had to say it.
Jeez.
But yeah. So that's our show for tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, fuck off. Guys, I'm sorry. I just came back. I was going to raid Cirrus's channel because he's going to keep streaming. There's a Twitch channel called Cirrus Sucks. I kind of want to raid them.
Are they live?
They are live right now. They have one viewer. I kind of want to raid them.
What?
I'm raiding Cirrus Sucks. I'm raiding Cirrus Sucks. We're raiding Cirrus Sucks, guys. Come on, let's go. Cirrus Sucks.
Jesus Christ. What even?
I don't know that it even has anything to do with you. Oh no, it might be Surrey sucks.
I think it is Surrey sucks.
Okay, whatever. I rated them. We're rating them. Love it. Okay, bye.
Okay, I have to